What the fuck is
All
on your
right.
face?
Don't stay out there too long. Glasses.
Holy hell. When did those start?
Those are just readers or Jeff's.
Oh,
Because I don't know what my glasses are.
where's Chelsea?
And since my computer's in the Jeep, I have to use my phone and I can't read anything. So
Well, it says
Chelsea,
we're
I don't know
live.
what's going on. She texted me and she's like, "You guys got to get on. I'll jump in when I can." And I'm like, "Okay."
All right, cool.
Oh, thank you, dear. What, do they look funny or something?
No.
Don't be a jerk. How's that?
That's better. Those are better.
Jeff says you're
You kind
welcome.
you kind of look like a biker dyke.
I always say, this is my Bunny X look.
Oh, by the way, Chelsea just messaged we're live.
Yeah, I see that in the corner.
I don't
So
even know
now,
what the subject is.
anything we want it to be, let's talk about Chelsea.
Yes, let's talk about what's up, Stoner Buddy.
Perfect. Chelsea's not on, so we're going to talk about Chelsea.
Like how we finished off a bottle of tequila the other night.
Yeah, let's start with that.
What
Wasn't
the
my
hell?
idea at all.
Lies.
You
Yes.
guys did tequila shots that night?
We finished a bottle of Patron, start to finish. Mom had a shot. Dad had a shot. Then I think the rest was me and Chelsea, and a couple were to Jason and Sam.
And they all
Yeah,
still
we
felt
must have
fine
just
in the
missed you.
morning.
Hey, I made it back to Ohio just fine.
Maybe you're still
That
buzzed
night
out.
or the next morning.
Yeah, I'm
Crazy.
getting text all through the night from them. Didn't even understand what they said. I couldn't even decipher some of them.
We would have stayed longer, but we needed to get home.
Well, it was so hot.
Oh, we were burnt. I looked like a cherry tomato the next day.
Well, and then I must have had my life coaching badge on because I was inside most of the time talking to people that needed to talk.
No
I know
way.
Mike's like, where's
Yeah.
Donna? I'm like, she's giving somebody inspiration or giving them a talking to, one of the two. So
Yeah, you know me well. There was like 4 of them that day.
holy hell, how long is your hair now?
I just got, oh,
Wow.
Conrad's.
Well, I haven't seen Conrad in person in how long now?
Mom or
Long
Chelsea
time.
posted pictures, and you can see how long it
Since
is in the
Grayling.
picture really well.
Since the benefit, so a year.
Were you there? I don't remember him being there.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
he
there.
was there.
Where were you? Okay, anyways.
I sat with Mel for a while, and then I sat with Mom for a while.
Yeah, he was the one. It was the one up in Grayling, not the one down here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
You know, the day after your wedding. We could talk about Kevin's wedding reception.
I don't remember my wedding reception
I know you don't.
at all. At all.
I can remember Mike dancing all over you.
Yes, I remembered Mike giving me a lap dance, and then him starting to take his shirt off. I'm like, babe, you understand we're in public, right?
He did take his shirt off.
He did. He didn't care.
He did.
God love that man.
God, we were laughing. That was a good time.
And
So
him
you guys
dancing
tell
with
me
Step
about
to
your
it.
very first ghost encounters.
Um. Oh gosh. Are you want to I'll give you a little bit of everything here, I guess. Um, the earliest one I remember, but I blocked it out until I was older, was there was an old trail that ran along our property, and they used to use horse and buggy or horse and wagon to run things through there. And I remember seeing the wagon and the wheels and being able to hear it. It was more residual, probably. And then I always felt like somebody was walking behind me while I was growing up. Like every time I was out in the yard, I felt like I could hear somebody walking directly behind me. And every time I'd stop, I'd hear their steps go 2 steps and then they would stop.
Awesome.
Which later on, I believe, was the boy we discovered was attached to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on in high school, the one that I remember experienced fully involved a Ouija board. And we didn't have something very nice come through. It lied to us a couple of times and to gain our trust and everything like that. And we were young. So that was a fun experience. It grabbed my friend's wrists and was like controlling the cursor by holding her wrist. You could see like the imprints of the large hands on her wrists. And this was before I understood that I had the abilities that I did, but I just felt like I needed to project with my mind and yell at it to stop and either answer our question and go away or go away. And it got mad and squeezed her wrist tighter, and then it threw them at me like it wanted to use her hands to choke me.
Mm-hmm.
And then it passed through my body. And when it passed through my body, I like went backwards. And like it was all slow motion, and then I like sat back up, and it like hovered above her bedroom door, and it was a thick cloud of like black smog almost. And we went running out of her bedroom. We were like, on the count of 3, we're gonna go. And then we like booked it, and her mom was sitting in the living room, and she's like, oh my gosh, what happened to you? And I was like freezing from head to toe. I was cold. And then she's like, go look in the mirror. And I was like chalk white, like from head to toe. And I was like almost cold to the touch because it had drained all of my energy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming later on I figured that out. And then throughout the night, because we asked if we could like sleep in the big TV room together, because I was a boy, I was supposed to sleep in the living room by myself. But that night we convinced her stepdad to let us both sleep in the big TV room. Well, that's where their wood stove was with an open glass front on it, and it kept like twisting the flames into its face and appearing and we were both like dead quiet laying there, and it happened a couple of times, and I was like, Jennifer, and she's like, did you see that too? And I was like, yes.
Just
So
throw another log on it, make it go away.
But one of the things that like stuck out to me about that is at one point it said her name and then it spelled out the word suicide,
Mm-hmm.
which later on happened.
Mm-hmm.
Later in life. It was almost like 10 years later, but
Wow.
yep.
And what was your first experience, Kevin?
That I remember. So when I lived in Hazel Park with my first husband, we had this like, I don't know, wooden carved out bowl, and he was a server in a restaurant. I was a bartender, and our roommate was a bartender. So we lived on tips. So when we come home at night, we just dump all our coin into this dish. And then end of the month we just have a great big old slap fest and whatever, or
Slap fest, that's
we
what they
go out.
call it. Okay.
That's what they call it now. Um, well, after a while, it's like, it was filling up, and then all of a sudden I see coin missing. I'm like, that's out. I'm like, well, maybe Dawn needed gas or whatever. So it just kept getting smaller and smaller, and to the point that my husband and our roommate Dawn, they're like, "What's going on with the change?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't. I'm not using it." So we were having a bunch of people over for brunch on a Sunday. So Matthew and I are in the kitchen getting everything ready. I'm going to make coffee. So I'm scooping the grounds into the coffee maker basket, and I hear a clunk. Like, that's odd. And I fish around. There's like 2 quarters in there. So then, just curiously, we got out a strainer, emptied that entire can of coffee into a bowl, and came out with $7.50 worth of coin.
Holy cow.
This is in the coffee can, ground coffee. So at this point,
That's
we're kind
insane.
of we're kind of spooked. So we're going to get all the coffee cups out of the cupboard. Well, I pull out one coffee cup, and it was like it was filled with change, and they quickly turned it upside down and set it in the cupboard. 4 coffee cups like
Oh.
that. Then I go to get the bacon out of the freezer, and there's coins piled up on top of the bacon.
Oh
Now,
my God.
so as Dawn's walking in, she's like, "What the fuck? What am I hearing out here?" And we're telling her, and she's like, "Oh, okay." She goes, "I'll be right back." So she goes into her bedroom, calls everybody who's coming over to brunch. Bitch, our house is haunted. We got shit flying everywhere. We're canceling brunch. She's like, "I cancel brunch. We need a priest." And she's like, around. She goes, "Who can bless and make holy water?" And I'm like, "Let's calm down."
Yeah.
Because we knew that a father and his 2 twin children, a boy and a girl, burned to death in a barn fire. That used to be all um horse ranching
Okay.
because of the Hazel Park Derby and all of that. So we researched history a while back and found out that they died in a fire. Um, so I'm like, it's got to be dad or the kids playing around. And so it for like months, anytime we go to make coffee, we shake the can, make sure there's no more change in it. But that's where all the change went.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
I
It's
mean,
like mom's
looking
jewelry
back at
going
it,
missing.
Yeah, my jewelry.
I
That
could
was a good one.
I could look back and laugh at it now, but at the time, it's like I just got into the paranormal. I just joined my first team, and I'm like, so I'm calling my team leader, and I'm like, okay, so this is going on. She's like, we're too busy to deal with your shit right now. So I quit that night. I did an
Good.
investigation and said, oh, and by the way, you were such a fucking bitch to me on the phone. And I told everybody what happened. And they're all looking at her. They're like, Gail, really? She goes, we have other things to deal with. And she's like, you have a team member that's being haunted. So
Boy, she sounds like a real
yeah,
winner, don't she?
yeah. Well, she's the one that got busted stealing items from each uh investigation location.
Oh, well, that explains a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. My
What
first
is yours?
experience, it's hard to say. I grew up here in Voices. I was probably 3, 4 years old, and I'd go out to the woods and walk around because we were on 40 acres, I think it was. And we had trails cut all through the woods, and I'd hear whispering. And I just chalked it up to the trees. It's the trees. And then I'd see little lights at night, which I soon discovered were fairies. They're not nice little things, let me tell you.
Mine are.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
they're very mischievous. Let's put it that way.
You gotta bribe them.
We just who was I? Oh fuck. It was so I was logged into Second Life. What a shock. And we were just talking about fairies and how what was it? True Blood, how they depicted fairies. And everybody's like, that was so wrong. I'm like, look up fairies and you tell me. I said,
Yeah. They're not Tinkerbell. Come on, guys. They're ugly.
no, they're not
Some
nice.
of them choose to take the form of Tinkerbell, but they can change.
They'd rather stay their true self, which is homely as a hedge fence.
I
But
think they're cute.
I've got to wonder because Conrad brought up my jewelry. That was a whole trip in itself in the farmhouse. My jewelry kept coming up missing. A piece would just disappear. And I'm telling you what, at one point I was like, is someone coming into this house at night and we don't know about it? A year later, downstairs across one of the rafters in perfect unison was every piece of jewelry I owned.
Wow. Okay, so explain this to me, sister. Right there. Um, so remember my vape pen incident?
No.
What? Okay, so you and I left the bar, you, me, and
Okay.
Chelsea, and we were on our way home to wherever Gil's Gaines. No, Tin Lizzie. We were going to Tin
Damon.
Lizzie. Damon. And I lost my vape, so we figured I lost it at the bar. 2 weeks later, now mind you, I tore the bedroom apart where I was living. Can't find it anywhere. 2 weeks later, it shows up in my dresser drawer.
Could that have been your roommates playing games?
Oh, they wouldn't do anything like that.
Yeah, they would. But that's a suggestion.
It could be.
Yeah, good point to think about, huh? So, what do you guys think? What was probably your worst experience?
My first one.
Good point.
Being held down in the bed at the no, no. When I was doing the neighborhood, the haunted stroll in the Heights with Kim Dotson and the hag and the old motel was screaming at me.
Oh,
Yeah, I would have to say
That
the hags are
that
not
was
fun to deal with.
that was horrible. I was literally Conrad. She, now I've dealt with ghosts, I've dealt with spirit, but it was so vile. Just
I lived
her
with
voice
one
didn't
in my
scare me.
house.
Voice, her voice didn't scare me. It was how she said it. Just the intent was so vile. I was in tears. And Rhonda's like, "You got to be kidding me." I'm like, "No, I'm not kidding you. Not doing that again." And everybody's like, "Yeah, you'll be no. Watch me. I will not." Never did. Would never
good.
go near. Never walked on that side of the street ever. Nope.
She was waiting for you. You know that.
Nope.
Conrad had the same had an experience too with a hag.
In the house that I lived in Grand Rapids, when I first moved there, I knew something was there immediately as soon as I walked the door. It realized I was in the door as soon as I walked there. It picked up on me immediately. It knew what I was, everything. And when she presented herself to me for the first time, it was in a dream. And I wouldn't even say it was a dream. I was astral projecting because I could see my body. And I would like look down at my body and I was like, shit, I got to get back in there. And when I looked back up, she was on the arm of the couch and she like had her hair all down and she was all skinny and scrawny and gross and she was like crouched
Nope.
down and she
Nope.
went like this and pointed down at my body. And
Nope.
that's when I fell back in because I was like, fuck that. Got
Yeah,
back in
I'm out of
there.
here.
I woke up
Homo
and I
be
was like,
running.
holy shit. I was like hot. I was sweating. I was drenched. And I was like, oh, it's probably because like my roommate at the time was like sleeping on the
No.
other end. Well,
Homo
I
be
got up and
running.
went up
That's
to the
all
other
I'm gonna
couch
say.
and he sat up out of a dead fucking sleep and looked at me and said, she doesn't like you. She doesn't want you here. And then just went back to sleep. And he didn't remember a shitting thing.
Yep, that
Packing
one
my
shook
shit,
me up.
leaving that night.
Yep.
Nope.
I said, good. The bitch has a reckoning coming because she just fucked with the wrong person because that pissed me right off.
The hag was so vile, Conrad, and affected me so bad. I had to just take a walk around the other block, right? And of course Becky was gonna go with me. And I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. I need to be by myself. Rebecca calls me. Smuck. I'm like, hey. She goes, what the fuck did you just run into?
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, there's an evil hag across the street at the motel. She's like, do not go over there. Do not. I'm like, bitch, I'm not even walking on that side of the street. No.
Yeah,
She
did you
says,
tell her? I was
Rhonda.
it out. So, Chad, what was your first experience?
My first experience that I can remember was probably when I was riding my little four-wheeler at home. And I just remember, for some reason, I had the urge to just stop. And I stood up and I looked to my right and I saw little red shoes, like little like canvas sneakers, like Converse, just running around me. And I watched them and I watched them and I got the sense it was a little boy. And then they disappeared and then I started bawling.
Wow.
And my dad was super confused. And my mom was like, well, shit.
See, and I couldn't tell you if I had an experience as a child because I can't remember that far back. I don't remember anything, but
I blocked a lot of my experiences out until I got older and started working on opening up more and like meditation. That's when a lot of my experiences from when I was a childhood came back.
Yeah, I think once you are settled in life, you're happier. You can let some of the bad things back in and really go over them and see, how did I handle that and how can I change handling that? And
Mhm.
I think it's just
Yeah.
well, and
maturing.
Like going
I
back,
don't think it's.
for me and all my cousins, we didn't really have anything spooky happen to us, but we were born into a very faithful family. Seriously, my mother should have been a nun. They were that into their
She would have
faith.
been a good nun. So, Chelsea,
She,
what was your worst experience?
Oh, Lord. Mm. I mean, there's a few that were unsettling, to say the least. Well, there was the one in Newberry, but I don't consider that one the worst anymore. I think it was just because we were so inexperienced, is why it freaked us out so much.
I don't. I
I
don't.
do, because I think
There was definitely some bad juju there.
I mean, bad juju or not, I don't think it's anything super crazy. And I think if we were to experience it now, we would handle it a lot more different. Because then we never really
Probably
thought of.
all of it except the hotel room part. I
Yeah.
made sure I stayed up all night because I knew it was coming after you.
Because, like, for those of you that haven't heard us tell the story, we went to it was like a bar hotel in Newberry in the Upper Peninsula. And long story short, they said, oh, you want to do a ghost hunt? Okay, cool. You can stay the night, wander, blah, blah, blah. So we started wandering. We're the only ones upstairs. The downstairs, the bar was immaculate. It was beautiful. But the upstairs was very run down. They hadn't restored anything. And it had been used to like house homeless people. I think they said they thought it was a brothel at one point. So it had seen its fair
It was a
share.
brothel at one point.
Yeah. And when we were going through, we could hear footsteps following us around. And then Mom saw the imprint of somebody's butt sitting down next to her on the bed. And then we were taking pictures. And when we looked at one of the pictures that we took, it looked like screaming faces in the window. So when we saw that, we were a little freaked out. So we left. And we decided to drive. I don't even remember how far we drove until we hit the next motel. And we checked in. I remember we were thinking we were safe. And we eat dinner, we go to bed, and I had nightmares all night of like this looming shadow of a man standing over me. Meanwhile, Mom was up all night watching shadows continuously go back and forth across the door. So it was a very long night. So exhausted, we make our way back over to Mackinac City and we check into, I think it was the Best Western. I don't remember. We were
Yeah, I think it was right in that stretch. Yeah.
Yeah, and we went and got dinner. We had some awesome fish. It was super good, and it was just we walked to the restaurant, so it was just across the street. Mom lost her debit card, so I was like, okay, I will go back to the restaurant, see if maybe you dropped it. And
Good
I went back.
whitefish.
Yeah, I went back to the restaurant, and they let me in because they had just closed. And I said, hey, my mom lost her debit card. I just want to check the table, see if maybe she left it there. And they're like, yeah, no problem. I look and look, nothing. They didn't have anything in the back. I go back to the hotel room. Mom's tearing everything apart at this point. Clothes are everywhere. Her purse is emptied. It looks like a tornado went through. She's like, where's the goddamn card? So we're looking and looking, and all of a sudden we just hear and we look by the door, and they had like a bench sitting next to the door, and her debit card was sitting right in the middle of it. And so we both felt really, really freaked out by that. And I looked at my mom and I said, what do we have from that place? And she looked through her purse, and she all she could figure out was the receipt from when I don't remember if it was the bar receipt or the receipt from checking in for the night. So I said, we need to burn it.
It was from the bar.
And so we ended up burning it, and we were saying our prayers, and we watched like this hazy smoke just like it just materialized in the room, and then it shot out the window right across the bridge. It was almost as if whatever the attachment was, as soon as we burned what it was attached to, it had to go back to where it came from. And we looked at each other and we were like, did you see that? Did you see that? And then it was over. It was very, very bizarre. I think that happened in like 2012, around there. I have not been back to Newberry since.
I want to go. So I know it's not open.
I would love to go up to the UP.
Mm-hmm. So that was
Cemeteries there
Yeah,
are
that was quite an experience.
that was a very intense, especially being that we had just started doing our paranormal investigations. And then there was one time when I was a kid, you know, I would I would always fetch a beer from the fridge for mom and dad, and I would run into the kitchen, grab it, run it back to the living room. And I remember one night I went to grab one for them, and I turned around, and there was a sliding glass door that was in the kitchen. And I remember turning around and looking, and there was a little boy, and he pressed himself up against the door, and he was covered in blood. And I lost my shit. So I ran into the living room. I throw the beers at my parents, and they're like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm great. Mhm.
She's frozen.
Oh, no. Can you hear me now?
Oh, I think it's mom that's frozen.
Are all of you?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I was like, I don't see me frozen.
It's like we're all fine. I think mom's the one that's frozen.
Ruh-roh,
She's
she'll
doing
figure it
from
out.
her phone.
But yeah, so that was one of the more intense things. I did have some poltergeist activity when I was a kid. So like going through puberty, weird shit would happen. We had this really cool phone that had like, it almost felt like a touchscreen, how the buttons were. And it was just like really sleek looking, almost like futuristic. You know how things were in the mid 2000s? They tried to make everything space agey or whatever, or technologically advanced, but it was a cheap piece of shit. Anyway, so I remember there was one night that phone kept like going off the hook. Hold on, I'm going to let her back in. Let me remove that one, and then we'll add this one. There we go. Are you back now?
She's back.
Uh-oh.
Maybe.
She might be back.
Does she hear us?
I don't know. But
No, I
so
can't hear anybody.
we had this phone, and in the middle of the night it kept going off the hook, and it was on speakerphone, and we could not figure out what the hell was going on. And it happened one time. I got up and I was like, why is this phone on speaker? So I hit the button and it hung up the phone. And then it happened again, and my parents got up and were downstairs, so they checked it out, and they couldn't figure out because you had to hit that button for it to go on speaker. And I woke up the next morning, and the phone was out the window, and I was like, well, "What would you guys do with the phone?" They're like, "It wouldn't stop turning on." It was very bizarre. Let's see if she works now. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Oh, good.
Yay.
I was talking about. Remember when I was going through puberty and we had that silver, weird looking phone and it kept going off the hook?
Yes.
So there was that, and then I had. It happened to me in Michigan and in Florida. Something followed me, and it. I would be laying in bed and I would feel a hand, a very distinct hand, wrap around my legs and just like touch me. And that freaked me out. Was not a fan. I got super pissed off the second time it happened. And I was like, stop fucking touching me. And it never happened again. But
Yeah, it's pretty pissy when that happens.
yeah. And then obviously I have also talked about an old hag. We have had experiences with one as well. So it seems they are abundant.
Oh, especially in northern Michigan.
Uh-huh.
Dead and alive. So one of the things, like, what I think we should, like, what is the weirdest thing you've ever seen?
Oh my God. We don't have enough time for that.
Well,
Like, mine
think-
was the paper cutout person out the living room window of the farmhouse
I remember that night.
next to the fireplace. Me and Chelsea were talking, and I'm pretty sure it was one of the times me and her kind of went into I don't know, psychic, telepathic psychic experience, because we were seeing the same things of
Mhm.
We
like
were
a
in the
past life
zone.
together.
Yeah, we were in the zone.
And
You were synced.
I looked out that window, and she was talking. I just stood up and I'm like, I'm going to close this now. And I shut it. And she's like, did you see something? And I was like, yup.
Mhm.
That was the most bizarre. It was like balloon head. It would look solid white, like a balloon sized head, cut out person of paper, but tiny little beady red eyes.
Mm-hmm.
No other facial features, nothing. And I was like, that is so bizarre.
But
Yeah,
it was
you
only
were
two
not a
dimensional.
fan.
I've
what was
heard
your-
of them, but I've never seen one until that day, and that was crazy.
Right. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. I mean, I was with you when it happened, but I can't say that I've seen anything like that. I mean, I seen the elemental when we shared that experience when I first got this house. That was pretty interesting.
That was one
I
of
would-
my weird experiences for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would qualify that as weird because that was. I've only had a few experiences with elementals. The first time was when we went to Haunted Willow Creek Farm, and that was when I first saw them. And I feel like from that moment, it was almost like they knew that I could see them. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, why do I keep seeing these really weird, wispy creatures? And they all kind of look different, but they're almost whimsical, but more not like pretty whimsical. I'm talking like raw, very gargoyle-ish whimsical, if that makes any sense at all.
Kind of gothically ugly.
I mean, I wouldn't call them ugly. They're
I
all
would-
right.
So, one of the things that I experienced the first Halloweens that I came down here was wisps, but I've always seen them prior, just one random lone wisp, maybe two,
Mhm.
and they're usually a soft glow of some form of light. These were all black. but they were coming into the land.
Hmm.
Well, today I had the experience while I was taking care of the garden and putting fish fertilizer on all my plants and stuff and watering things. And I was like watching the clouds up in the sky, and these tiny little seed-sized wisps that were bright white lights were being shot out. So I
That's
feel like
cool.
they came here and like dissolved back into the earth to be reborn
That's interesting.
because I've been healing the land.
Well, you have been healing the land. It would explain it.
Yeah.
And I've had fae experiences here. Like I seen a little humanoid fae. It was like almost obsidian black. It even had the sheen to it, or like a polished obsidian. And it had really sharp, pointy wings, and they moved really, really, really fast. And it had a really long, slender body that was probably like 3 times the length of the wings, but thin. And it just absorbed into my pear tree.
Oh,
Wow.
that's crazy.
And that pear tree is loaded with pears this year.
Nice.
See,
Hmm.
I've dealt with wisps, but I haven't dealt with fae yet.
Fae were one of my most skeptical things ever until I saw one, and I've never
Yeah.
turned back.
I can agree with that. That and Bigfoot.
I don't know how I'd
I was just
handle
going to
it.
say, it was Bigfoot with you. We couldn't even
Mhm.
say that word in front of you and you'd lose your mind.
Well, I don't anymore, so.
Yeah, we know.
It didn't help during that time. Like, there was a lot of stupid ass Bigfoot hunting shows on TV that just made it look like a goofy ass joke.
Like all the
Mhm.
stupid paranormal shows on TV.
Again, I'm going to repeat what I've said on every single podcast. Hollywood has ruined the paranormal.
So
Ziggy
real,
stop.
though.
Absolutely.
So true. It's no wonder
Nobody
everybody
wants,
thinks we're crazy.
yeah, and no one wants to take it serious now because of it.
Right.
Mom,
It's a demon.
what's one of the top 10 weird things you've seen?
Me?
Yeah.
Mhm.
The absolute weirdest thing I've seen in my entire life was I'm a dreamer. And I had one dream that was very vivid, very scary, and I've banished this one thing from my life forever, and you two both know what it is,
Zach Bacon's?
besides that fucker.
I had to.
I had a dream one night, and I'm not sure what the hell it was. It was this fat little midget person in a Speedo with a lizard head. And then the lizard head gets cut off and there's blood everywhere and it's it.
That's it.
So it was like the lizard became it.
Oh, you mean Pennywise?
Yeah.
That sounds like a really fucked up dream.
Yeah. Well, you know how I feel about clowns.
She loves them.
No, I don't. I hate clowns. Hate them.
Hey,
Hate
she
them
don't
even more.
like them because I got a backpack full of them right now.
He
They're
does.
still in that fucking backpack.
You need to put that mission
I'm
in
gonna.
action.
I'm just gonna use them on my table.
No.
Especially
No.
when I'm next to you.
No. I'll use them for
Yeah.
target practice.
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
What's wrong with Kevin? He can't hear anymore. He knows what's wrong with him.
Oh,
Tisk, tisk.
sister.
That's funny.
So what
I
else you
can't
guys
wait to hear.
got?
So, welcome to the show, Chelsea.
I know, right?
Where were
No,
you?
So it has been a very tough couple of days at work, and I've been working overtime, and I had a very late dinner, and everybody knows that Chelsea's not the same when she's hungry. So I decided to spare you guys my grumpy-tude and get some food in me before I came onto the show.
AKA, you were a bitch from hell.
Yeah, because I was really hungry. So
Mhm.
my darling Mitchell brought us home dinner because the last thing I wanted to do was cook. So I had some food, and then I felt like a totally different person, and here I am.
You mean to tell me all that food's gone?
We got rid of most of it. We gave
Oh,
away like 95% of it.
You still had a refrigerator full when we left.
It's mostly gone. Unfortunately, a lot of the cookies had to be tossed. The heat completely crumbled them into nothing. So we did have to throw out quite a bit, which was a bummer, but the dogs love the hot dogs.
oh, I bet.
It's the only way I can get them to eat right now because it's so hot and they want nothing to do with it. And poor Theodore started hacking a bit because he had an empty tummy. So I got him to eat some food and now he's better. So
Oh,
it's
good.
we're making it through one day at a time. But I gotta say, it's been a long year this week and it's only Tuesday.
Sounds like it was a long night after the party.
It was a fun night. I
Oh
loved
my
it.
god, we
So
had such a good night. It
it
was
was
so good.
amazing. We just hanging out in front of the house. And let me tell you, nighttime 82 degrees is so much better than daytime 82 degrees. Like it felt
It was
great.
so comfortable. We were sitting there talking
Mhm.
forever.
Forever.
And
It
we were
was just
waving at the cars going
awesome.
by.
Yeah, it was
And
very
drinking
fun.
tequila
Well, yeah.
without your
There
mom,
I
without
was
your
got Chelsea
uncle.
to drink tequila and she did more than just one shot.
Yeah, I lost count,
What?
and I have to say, I don't know. My guardian angel must have been working overtime or something because I woke up the next morning and I kid you not, I wake up and I'm laying there and I'm like, okay, I'm either going to be okay or I'm going to feel like I'm dying. And I laid there and I was waiting for it to hit me and it never hit me. So I stood up and I was like, oh my God, I'm okay. I'm
Yeah, she's
okay.
walking around, letting the dogs out, talking to them. I'm snoozing on the couch. I felt fine.
Yeah,
Trust me,
I
I
don't.
caught up with them by late afternoon.
Well,
She
by
was just
then,
catching
though,
up on sleep.
that was the only thing was I was just exhausted. It was such a full day, the heat, and then just running around and then staying up way past my bedtime. I was just so tired, but I am happy to say that I was not in any pain, no hangover, just tired, and I can handle that part.
Right?
And
I came home and took
everybody
a little
signed that
nap.
fucking guest book.
What?
I said, and everybody signed that fucking guest book.
No, we didn't get everybody, unfortunately. There's quite a few people that didn't, but that's okay.
I
I'll
didn't
track them
sign it.
down. How dare you?
How dare you? I didn't know there was one.
I think you're covered. You're fine. I
Oh,
just wanted
God.
I'm not a guest at this point.
You're right, yeah.
You're in the
No.
flipping
So,
wedding.
so you haven't, so you've read through it and everything.
Honestly, I haven't quite read through it yet. I haven't even put away everything from the cards, which everybody was so sweet. Everyone that gave us gifts and cards, I was just so blown away by what people gave us. It was awesome.
Oh, thinking of that, Mike and Kim were going to put something in your guys' card, and Kim sealed the card and forgot. And I told her, I said,
Aw.
just save it for the wedding.
Yeah, no big deal. Honestly, the last thing I expected was people to bring us cards and gifts. I
I
just
brought you
wanted
a
people.
lighter.
I love that lighter. It was so funny. Mitchell saw that lighter and he's like, "Whose is this?" I was like, "It's mine." He's like, "Well, you smoking now?" I said, "No, I gave it to me." And he's like, "Oh, okay."
She needs something to light her smudging stuff with, smoke cleansing, how else will she light it? And it's got a
Yeah.
little wolf on it.
Oh,
And I thought
Listen,
the wolf was cute.
I'm not from Avatar. I'm not a damn fire starter, okay? I need a lighter.
We're not that advanced yet.
No, that'd be sweet though.
I don't know with you two, you'd be burning people up.
See,
No.
with the fire energy work that I already do, that would be extremely dangerous, I feel like.
More than likely.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Hmm?
That's probably why I'm not allowed to experience it.
Hopefully.
Maybe in the next 3,000 years we'll think about it.
It is thundering so bad here. This fifth wheel is shaking.
Thundering
We're
down
supposed
there?
to get
Fucking
storms at 9. I was out there where it said
Every
9
time
o'clock
we have been
storms.
told we're having thunderstorms, it doesn't happen. We've had rain, but no storms. And it's
We
starting to
haven't
piss me off.
we haven't seen any rain. Like they've been calling for rain all day and we haven't had any. It's like you guys lied to me. I have to go water my damn tomato
it's
plants.
gonna start there probably late tonight.
Good. That means I have to water my damn plants. Which you guys will be very happy to know we did plant the tomato plants last night.
Good.
Woo-hoo. They are in the ground and I've been watering them twice a day because they're thirsty little bitches.
Especially right now.
Yeah.
I was out watering before the podcast, and it wasn't supposed to start storming until 9 o'clock. And I'm out there, and I'm like, "Oh, it's thundering. Hope I don't get struck by lightning." Fertilizing my plants with fish fertilizer.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I got here because I was in Mount Pleasant for the night yesterday, and Dad had been just watering all my plants. He said 2-3 times yesterday.
Mhm.
They all looked like they were ready to die. I about had a coronary. They're all better now. I took care of them.
Oh, okay. Speaking of Mount Pleasant, did you win big?
No.
Oh, you're such a liar. You won.
No.
No.
You know why you won? Because I wasn't with you.
Oh,
Actually, Kim did better than I did.
She actually won this time?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good news. She never wins, so that must have been nice.
I think it was good for both of us to finally get out.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean you were out on Saturday?
Yeah, that was fun.
I thought it was fun.
It was a fun day.
It was just very busy and chaotic at points, and that's
I
okay.
just wish I could have came outside more.
Ah, well.
you would have blown away.
Probably.
It was very windy. It was that, but like I kept telling people, if it hadn't been windy, it would have been scorching.
Yeah, everybody would have been buying.
It was definitely very, very crazy.
Well, I know
And,
when Kevin left, he looked like a tomato.
yeah. I mean, I got
boss
pretty
complimented
red,
me on the tan that I came back with.
You're so
wish I
sick.
could
Me and
tan.
you always tan.
Why is that like a guy thing? Because Mitchell is so dark. I'm like, you suck. I
My
can't.
eyebrows
turn
got
red.
so bleached out. I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's the toe head. There's the toe head." Anybody didn't know
my
I was
sister and I used
platinum
to-
blonde when I was a child.
He was.
I wish I
He was
would. I wish I could have
beautiful
kept
I
that
button.
hair.
all the time.
What'd you say, Kevin?
My sister and I tanned all the time. Now, my brother, on the other hand, he's the fairest of them all. So he just burns.
That's all I do.
I know the feeling.
Now I can't get my legs tanned to save my life.
Oh my God, mine never. I look like Casper when I have shorts on.
I always
Same
joke
with
and tell people the only color I get is what I got in my tattoos. That's it.
For sure. So
Mhm.
what's on the agenda for next week?
Stuff and things.
things and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is that code for I don't know?
Per usual.
I am not in the understanding of what you're speaking of.
Uh-huh.
Was
Well,
the
you guys
subject
keep on
of
talking
yesterday.
while I look.
I'm
Oh,
looking it up right now.
let's see if we can find it first.
July 1st. Pros and cons of being psychic.
Oh yeah, that was Kevin's idea.
Running.
Boy, we'll fill that hour up.
It's super quick.
Yeah, because we never stay on topic.
Never.
No.
That's
That's okay.
okay. Our tangents are great.
They
That's all
are. They
about.
really are.
That could.
Oh, and for those of you that don't know, in October, our team is traveling to Indiana to Rhodes Hotel for the night.
Not that we've ever talked about Rhodes Hotel or anything.
I feel like are we able to do because I know some places won't let you, but are we able to do a live there? Maybe pop
Absolutely.
on. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Good.
Yeah.
And
And the
crazy.
renovations they've done are amazing.
Mhm. And the crazy part is, October's not that far away.
No.
It's
Well,
really
may as
not.
well be here because we ain't having a good summer.
What do you mean it just started?
We'll get real summer in September and October, I feel like.
Probably.
That would be nice. I would take that.
I would too.
I have
So
a
we
feeling
in
that's
August
what it's
weather
gonna
right now.
It's going to be
Or it might
115.
snow.
No, it's going to be
Or the snow.
115 degrees in October.
No,
We're
don't
Oh,
say
leaving.
that.
We'll
We
have a
leave for
blizzard in
Missouri
August.
last week in August. So we're really gonna experience summer.
You are gonna roast in Missouri in August.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then we're
We'll
headed
drink the
to
wave off.
Kentucky next month, and that's gonna be hot.
That's always hot. That's nothing new.
I know.
like
I just hope it's
96
not any
degrees.
hotter.
It's going to be like 96 degrees, 110% humidity. Nothing new.
Except
And
no
then
holds
Chelsea's
bar
gonna-
this year. We can do what we want.
Yeah, and Chelsea's going to wear a black t-shirt and jeans like she always does because she's insane.
Yep. What are you talking about? That's what you wear.
That's what I just said. I said Chelsea's going to wear. I was speaking in the third person.
I can only hear every other word.
Oh, Mom's messing up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the storm.
Probably.
Well, on that note, let's go ahead and call it. We killed the hour anyway, so thank you guys for listening as always. And if you listen after the fact, we still love you no matter what. So make sure you come back next week for more random
Just a
shit that
little
we
less.
talk about.
Leave your experiences
all.
down below in the comments.
Yes, please. We'd love to hear any kind of paranormal experience that you guys have had. So go ahead and comment on this video. Make sure you subscribe to the Tipsy and Witchy channel. And we'll see you guys next time. So have a great rest of your week. Try to stay cool and stay spooky. Bye.
Bye.
Later.